right, welcome to MSAD62's, what number are we? Second meeting? Joseph, Clean, Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll start off by acting on the minutes of our first regular meeting for August 21st. Anybody have any questions, concerns, or thoughts on those minutes?
Bree, is your name okay? Very attentive to that. I think we got it right.
With that, in confirmation of Bree's name, we will accept the minutes as presented. I really have not much or anything to say, so let's just move on to public comment. Do we have any public wishing to comment this evening? We do? All right, cool. Hold on one second. Now that we have public comment, I get to read my sheet. How exciting.
The first one this year?
Oh, no, we just don't read it if no one's gonna
Yeah.
comment.
But actually, yeah, I think, we did have somebody.
No, we did
have
last
somebody,
time,
yes,
yeah.
we did. Not many. All right, sorry about that. Our board meetings are conducted for the purpose of carrying out the official business of our schools. It is important to note that meetings of the board are open to the public. However, they are not public forums. At each full meeting of the board, time is allocated to provide opportunities for citizens and employees to express opinions and concerns related to the matters under consideration by the board. These comments shall be within the guidelines set forth in board policy BEDH, public participation at board meetings. Copies of the policy are available here and on the district's website. I would like to highlight the following. The chair is responsible for recognizing all speakers. We ask that speakers identify themselves by sharing their name and town of residence. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes to express their views. Speakers should direct all comments to the board, specifically the board chair. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to the opinions of the public that relate to school and education matters. It is not intended to be a conversation or a debate of issues. We know that school-related issues that can be emotional, but we ask that civility is maintained. We will not permit profanity, gossip, defamatory comments, shouting at one another, or comments that disparage or attack individuals or groups. The board is faced with many important issues. For the sake of efficiency, the board discourages duplication or repetition of comments. The board will not permit complaints or allegations against staff members. We certainly care about these concerns, but they are personnel matters, which the board is not permitted to hear in public. If there are complaints against staff, these will be handled appropriately through our complaint policy, KE. To reiterate, this is just a highlight of key points. Please refer to policy BEDH for a complete description of our public participation policy, which is probably more than 3 minutes.
You missed my time?
So I'm sorry, but we've used your time. So. But name and town, please.
Do I have to stand in front of this
No,
thing?
it catches you wherever.
Okay. Joe Burnham. I live at 157 Schoolhouse Hill.
Oh, we got an address.
In Turner. I don't know.
No, you just town and name.
Turner.
That's fine.
Okay,
There we
yeah.
go.
I'm the house with the illegal shit.
Okay.
So, I came in January of last year and talked to you guys about facilities use for Sunday use during the winter with in regards to the basketball program.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say thank you to Teresa, who's followed up with me a couple different times, both in March and in May, saying that you guys were getting a new person at policy. I think it's Crystal.
Yes.
Okay, congratulations, or I'm sorry, like whichever way you want to go with that. The only thing that I'm just coming to just say, hey, I'm still here. We start up again in November, so I know that everybody has sort of their like issues that you all ran for and want to go for, but we are just kind of around the corner. We would love to continue to explore that, and that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. All right, any other public comment? All right. Communications, board chair, I have one. We do have a donation presented to Green Central School. We have a grant awarded to the Green Central School for the 2024 and 2025 Kids Heart Challenge and American Heart Challenge Spring Grant in the amount of $2,499. And this is a grant funding for purchase of PE equipment, specifically pickleball,
Yes.
let the noise begin.
Yes.
I just want to add a side note there. Pickleball would play very well on basketball courts. I'm just saying. If we had basketball courts in the district.
They'd be pickleball
Tennis courts.
courts.
Yeah, tennis
Tennis
courts.
courts,
Tennis
sorry.
You mean pickleball courts.
Tennis courts, tennis courts,
There
sorry.
was only some tennis courts.
If there was only some tennis courts in the district, there we
They'd be
go.
turned into pickleball courts.
No, they turned into parking for big ugly boxes. That's what they turned into. Anyway, sorry, but we thank this donation and hopefully, and the donation was coordinated by Derek Jordan on behalf of Green Central School. Thank you very much. That takes us to superintendent's communications.
Yes, we have one resignation, Leo Castonguay, bus driver, effective 8/25. New hires, Amanda Thone, special ed tech 3, she'll be starting next week at Turner Elementary School. We've brought in an additional sub at Green and Leeds. And then new transfers, Melissa Hartford is our newest bus driver, trained in-house. She's moving from van driver to bus driver, that started at the beginning of the year. And then Taylor Webby, we hired as a van driver, and we have an open transportation specialist position, so she moved into that for the start of the school year. So, doing a good job of feeding our program with hires and then getting them trained. That's all I got.
Thank you. I believe we have no additional adjustments to the agenda,
Other than what got sent out.
other than what we all
There are some
received on
things
the
that are-
most
Yeah, yeah,
from the last printing, we have no adjustments
correct.
to the agenda. All right, that takes us to committee reports. Finance Committee, Ashley is doing more important things. I believe their next meeting is scheduled, according here, September 18th, 2025. Does anybody on finance feel anything we need to pass on, anything we need?
When I go over the consent agenda, I'll have Gabby do it.
Sounds good. Plant Transportation, PTB, your first report of the year, who's chair? Congratulations, Alex.
I was conspired.
You want it for the record?
Yeah.
Teresa, make sure you write that down. No.
All right, we did meet tonight. We had a lot we talked about. We confirmed our charge, which we all felt was appropriate. We had a transportation update by Jim. He, just gave us a rundown of where we ended last year. We were down a few drivers at the end of the year. We had since brought on a couple of more, and Carrie just spoke to a couple. For the first day of school, we were 100% covered, barely. We still have one route done by RideSource, and we're still contracting out the sports routes, which leave us ideally 3 or 4 drivers short from in-house 100% coverage. But he does have a couple of new van drivers who are interested in bus training, so hopefully that will get better over time. Then Dave gave us a facilities update. He has a presentation later on, item 10.3, so I won't steal too much of his thunder. A lot of good updates. The TPS water well was drilled. We are getting 15 gallons a minute, which is exceptional considering the other one was 4. And even more so, the 48-hour test revealed it was low in iron and manganese, which means we won't have to treat it. So there's some talk about delaying the tank installations until next year to get some better pricing on quotes. And I think, like I said, he will talk further about that as well. We also talked about the wood chip quote, which we had mentioned last time we talked about in finance. We're deciding to go with Cousineau, which was the provider 2 years ago, under some guarantees from them that the product will be better. So hopefully they follow through on that.
And that item is on the agenda for tonight.
Yes, and that's gonna go on. The LCS roof update is complete. Dave's very happy. They did a full final walkthrough. Everything looks good there. And the summer work, I'm gonna let Dave elaborate on, because there was a lot of it, and they got a lot accomplished, a lot of things checked off the list. So, that's all.
Do you have any questions for Alex? Seeing none? Okay. Crystal, Policy Committee.
Yes, we did not meet tonight. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 18th before the next meeting. May I address Mr. Burnham? Is that okay? If
Oh.
it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted you to know that we have some legal policies at the next meeting, and then fingers crossed October, that will be like number one at our policy committee. Okay.
Thank you, Crystal. Anybody have any other questions for Crystal on policy? All right. Curriculum. Bree.
So we confirmed our committee charge with changes. So we'll let you know what those updates are as well. Teresa will also be doing a report out later on to give you an update on some curriculum work that they've done over the summer. So as well, I won't steal too much of her thunder for that. But just to review, last year they were able to, the committees for curriculum work done at the school, it was the visual and performing arts, math, and health and PE, and they were able to get all of their priority and essential standards. So they are good to go. Next up will be the ELA standards, and hopefully starting science this year as well, maybe computer science. We'll see how many we can get through this year. And then Teresa is working on the atlas, which is the way that the public can see what are those essential standards that teachers are teaching. And she is hoping that by November, the public-facing side of atlas will be available. And our next meeting is October 2nd.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Changes to the charge, is that like recommendations back to us?
We needed to verify if that was something that needed to come to the whole board to look through, or if it was something that we can just make the changes and move forward. So once Peter was
Yeah, we're
going to
going to
clarify
clarify
that.
that.
Yeah, I think I looked back at the minutes from last year, and I think they were board agenda items, but we
Yeah,
can look
we're
back.
gonna.
Yeah.
They requested to make changes, they're gonna formalize them in writing that they've agreed to, and then we were gonna talk about and see what the
Okay.
actual, because we're trying to find out where in policy it was required, or if it was just kind of like a, because I remember voting on them, but I don't remember if it was a,
It actually, yes, I have things in my head that we can talk about. That will answer those questions.
there you go. Any other questions? Did that answer? Okay.
Yeah.
We're good, oh,
Can I just ask a quick question? So PTB, I realized we didn't talk, did you guys confirm meeting time and day? Like regular meetings, are they gonna stay at 5:30? That was not something that
We
I remember.
didn't confirm that, but
Are we gonna keep them except for additional meetings?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Alex.
I think that's.
So
I think
regular
that's-
schedule,
I
5:30?
think, I think that we kind of decided that, well, we implied it maybe in the
Okay.
conversation,
Yeah.
but with extra
We
meetings.
will
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
Our share of.
Yeah. Okay, and then curriculum, did you guys talk about that? Keep that same schedule?
Yep.
Thank you.
We're all happy with the schedule.
any other questions for any of the committees before we move on? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to our host for the evening, Principal Parker, our host.
Just a brief overview first. Does anybody have any specific questions about the board report that I submitted?
The behavior statistics look somewhat similar, maybe slightly better in 25 versus the 24. Is that how it feels as well, or?
I think so, yeah. What we ended up noticing, the trend last year, we had more intensive documentation early on, but the trend ended up being kind of a better one as the year went on.
Right.
So rather than than particular, February's always interesting.
Sure.
And we're gonna continue to study that, even though it's a shorter month, it's kind of an interesting one. But yeah, we're very, very pleased around the level of support that we're able to give, particularly students with a higher requirement of support. So Yeah, so overall, it's a pretty nice view. Other questions? Okay, just a couple of quick I'm so sorry.
No, I just wanted to also shout out to Mr. Jordan, because in your report, you also stated that the
Yeah.
school over the past 15 years.
I'm getting
Yeah,
it. That was gonna be my highlight.
very impressive, so congratulations.
And I'll reiterate it, and yeah, absolutely. We did wanna just point out that yesterday was our very first early release Wednesday. Went very, very smoothly. It's an incredible benefit to be able to have our support staff present. Obviously, all support staff welcome to come to any of our teacher meetings. They're not obliged to do so, but they're such a critical part of our structure when we have the ability to have everybody in-house being able to kind of troubleshoot, talk logistics, do some PD training. Yesterday, we did the full suicide awareness and child sexual abuse prevention training, which obviously is very intensive and kind of a draining topic, but we were able to do that at that end of the day piece, and walked away with the critical info that we needed. And then the positive highlight, and that's where Ms. Aller was going. And I did want to say this in public session too, that Derek Jordan, who's been our PE teacher here for about the last 15 years, has done the Kids Heart Challenge through the American Heart Association for about a decade and a half. It used to be called Jump Rope for Heart. And the fundraising that he has done to this point is darn close to $91,000 that all 100% went to benefit the American Heart Association. So he's a very, very passionate person, loves to give back to the community. We're very, very proud of all of the efforts that he's given along with all of our students over the past 15 years. So, any other questions? Thanks very much.
Thank you. Here, I'm sorry, yes.
So from TPS, I'm Kristen Conway, the principal. Does anyone have any questions about my report?
I'm just gonna say similar question. I'd love to hear your thoughts on behavior data and how it feels at school.
So like Doug had said as well, but sometimes there is something as far as making sure people are putting in those reports and that sort of thing. But I think for us, the biggest difference last year is we had a dean of students, and that just helped us kind of meet needs a little bit more. And then also like over the summer, this summer, we were able to debrief what worked and what didn't work, and we had set up towards the end of the year for some of our sixth graders, because they were getting super excited and not always making the best choices, and so kind of working on even more clear expectations that if this happens, then this happens, which we had in place, but we could kind of make it more tangible about activities that we had coming up, and it made a huge difference. So we're working on we're rolling it out to be a bigger piece, like almost like what we have for the bus. If we send out that bus note every year, it just makes a big difference. But kids can do it, it needs to be super clear, and they have to understand the reasons why and everything, and that's going to happen. So. And then I was just going to highlight our Wednesdays. We have we're one of the schools that got one of the Model Schools grants for inclusive practices. And what we're going to be doing with our Wednesdays after the first week of October is we have like a pretty structured, every second and fourth Wednesday will be for collaborative planning and teaming with the staff that work in the classrooms. So all third grade staff, including the ed techs that are in there, the case managers that are in there, the interventionist that goes in there, will have time that they will look at the current student data, look at what we're doing for small groups, making sure that we have the right kind of differentiation in those small groups for each student, knowing that like one student might be excelling in one area, but then when we move on to the next section, they're not going to be at that same level. So just making sure we're placing kids in the right spot, and then also making sure everybody knows exactly what they're going to be doing. We did this last year, but it was super hard because we just didn't have enough time in our day. So, and with the ed techs, it was even harder because it was like, we couldn't usually get those ed techs because they were working with those students. So, really excited for that. We're going to take one other Wednesday a month to go over, we're going to use the data protocol and just looking more broadly at our data. So, looking at our Swiss data, we look at it throughout the year during staff meetings and that sort of thing, but being able to dig into it a little bit more and spend more time on it instead of just having it be like a sit and get and then report back kind of thing. And then the last meeting, or I think it's the third meeting of the month, is we're going to be doing teaching collaboratives. So all staff have committed to going in to observe another teacher during a time that they, like a prep time or whatever it might be, each trimester, and then we're going to take that time to then debrief in groups and looking at, we have our school-wide goal, which is on clarity, and we have 2 school goals. One's on clarity, academic clarity, and then the other is like behavioral clarity, so kids know what they're doing, what they're expected to do and why. So we're using those teaching collaboratives to observe each other and then debriefing together. But this Wednesday, we had a training just on inclusive practices in our school and making sure everyone participated in understanding like what does it mean, what is the job of a case manager, what is the job of the general ed teacher, and then we treated that as a draft so everybody could provide feedback on it. And then we also brought it back to our mission and vision of our school, which was, or our district, which was, it's a lot. But.
Is the goal of the teacher observations to help give the teacher that was teaching more feedback on what they're doing, or is it more for the teacher that's observing to learn what other teachers are doing, or both?
I think it's both. So we have a look for that we developed together based on our school-wide goals, those 2 clarity goals. And so when a staff person goes into the room, they use that look for, it has a little section on like, if they're seeing it in the classroom or if they're not, area for comments and that sort of thing. That goes to the other staff member, just as feedback. But you take it, I know when I go in, I always take something away, and then when we meet as the group, and they'll be working in small groups of like 4 or 5 staff at a time, it will be to really learn from each other, like, oh, why didn't you do it that way? Oh, that's a really neat idea, I didn't think about that sort of thing. So hopefully mutually beneficial is the
Great.
goal.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you very much. Principal Shaw.
So a couple of highlights. I just want to point out, as of this afternoon, our total enrollment continues to be over 600, which in looking back, I had Mrs. Poulin go back and check out our attendance or enrollment data. It's been almost like 15 years since we've been up over 600, and we're around 610 right now. So we got a lot going on. And we have, our study halls are quite full. We have pretty much 1 per period, so we have several of them that have 65 plus students in them. So we're trying to navigate that as well. A couple of other highlights. We have fall athletics started in mid-August. Our roster as of yesterday has 230 students for fall athletics, which is pretty significant. In addition to that, the fall musical will be up and running soon, and that'll be another, I would say, close to 30 kids. So a good chunk of our students will be participating in fall activity within the next couple of weeks. We had Dungeons and Dragons group that met after school today. Mr. Foster's room was pretty full with that too, so that was well attended. Our homecoming is scheduled for Saturday, October 10th, so if anybody's interested in that, so that'll be an all-day affair. And we also had our early release Wednesday yesterday. We spent the time working in with our bar groups, the 9th grade groups. So we have 3 9th grade bar teams that are pretty clear cut. Beyond the 9th grade, it gets a little less clear cut, but we've expanded the model to include 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. We're going to call it Bar Light, but it's the same idea. And so we had grade levels meeting yesterday, establishing what they want to do each Wednesday over the course of the month, and being able to lay out an agenda for that. And then after those meetings were over, we spent some time looking at feedback from our High Week back in June, so that we could take that into consideration to start planning for June 26th. That is my report for this evening.
Thank you.
It's okay if I'm I'm gonna ask you a random number, but do you know what our historical high was for student population?
That is somewhat nebulous, but no, I don't. It was closer to 700 though.
Closer to 7, okay.
I'm thinking there might be a research going on.
I'm writing that down because I know how to find it.
I'm not saying I can't find it, but it's still somewhat.
I'll race you at
It's
it.
still somewhat. I'm not gonna race you.
Don't really care, you know, whatever.
But 700 is a pretty good number, so it's really a matter of staff overstretching than the building capacity that's 6.
Building capacity is fine. I'm gonna tell you right now, we are stretched on staff.
Yeah.
We have a lot fewer staff now than we had last time. We had 610 students in our building.
Is it a bigger influx than we originally expected by any amount, or we kind of knew this was coming along, so?
And it was coming.
So.
The tea leaf say it's continuing to come.
And just to clarify, you said homecoming's October 10th?
It'll be October 11th. Saturday
October 11th,
Saturday
okay.
11th.
Those of us who hire high school kids, that's a very important date. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. That leads us to Assistant Superintendent Gillis.
Okay, so I wanted to just provide a few updates. I mentioned at our last meeting, we had some on-site trainers. In my opinion, it went very well considering other things that happened that day. We had our teachers in grades 3 through 8 training on illustrative math, the new instructional materials. And our teachers in K through 6 were participating with a trainer we had last year in some smaller group sessions, working with April from HMH. So that happened simultaneously. We had a delicious taco bar, if I do say so myself. It was very good, thanks to Dave Roberts' people. And for curriculum work, the ELA curriculum has met twice. And then the elementary teachers met again. Some of that work needs to be done separate. It's typical that we might separate out. The elementary teachers are meeting once again on September 30th. We have that date set, and we're going to look at all the feedback that teachers were able to give on August 22nd. So we've selected some essential standards, and now we need to look at what feedback the teachers gave us as part of that refinement work. Once the school year gets underway, which it is now underway, I'm going to start working with a team of teachers on the science standards. I'm hoping October, November-ish is when we'll start that work. And we are still waiting for substantial approval for our ESEA FY26 title grants. Once we receive this approval, we'll be able to use the funds. There are some edits that I need to make. So I'll be doing that later this evening. That's all I've got.
And questions for?
When you say that there are edits, are those requested in a response?
Yeah, so they review the application, because the funds are allocated to us, we just have to make sure that what we're proposing meets the federal requirements. So they tell us what needs to be revised, and then we revise it and submit it again, and there's some back and forth with that.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Teresa. All right, Superintendent Ahmed.
So I'll start by saying Teresa's pretty stretched. We're providing a lot of support to TPS while Elaine is on medical leave. Rebecca and I will be subbing in for the next week or so, spending days there. So I just to note for yourself that there's a lot happening for us as we continue to navigate the start of the school year and supporting that school. Okay, a couple things. So exciting news. We have a biomedical waste plan. So we have to have one every year to do with all the stuff that happens, biomedical waste that we have, primarily with nurses and nursing thing. We have to have a location. We have to register each location. We have to maintain this plan. We have to tag and package biomedical waste. So we have a plan. All the nurses are on it. Just letting you know, because I know you were worried. The opening of school, I was able to be here at Green first thing in the morning for arrival. I then went to Turner Primary School for dismissal and open house. and did that with Teresa. We did open house together. I then went to the high school the next day for a morning and spent Thursday at Leeds for almost the whole day. And as you heard from Alex, transportation was pretty smooth. Probably the smoothest since I've been here, I think, for sure. So, which is all just good news. So our current enrollment, speaking of enrollment, last year for the October 1 count, we had 2,009 students. Right now in Power School, we have 2,063. That number is gonna flux a little bit, but it's still pretty substantially higher from last year. So the October 1 count is the official one that gets used for our subsidy, so that will be an important number. So once we have that, I'll let you know, but that's where we are right now for the kids that are enrolled in Power School. I did some safety training with secretaries and other staff at central office. We have protocols for all the schools, people who answer phones for bomb threats, anonymous threats, things that are happening in our world today. That happens in schools. And so we shared those, I shared those protocols with people at central office, so they've got all of that as well. The next group will be the transportation and facilities. Those people also answer phone calls from the outside, so wanted to make sure they have those protocols as well. And then we have a number of items on the consent agenda. So the first is, I think it's first on the list, is the Finance Committee recommended approval. I'm gonna ask Gabby to sort of review what's there for you since Ashley's not here.
So we have two sets of financials for you to review. We have May and June of fiscal year 25, and July of fiscal year 26. For May and June, the report that I would draw your attention to is the expenditure report year to date. You'll see that both warrant article special education and other instruction are over. I would like to remind you that even though our amount remaining down at the bottom there shows $207,000, the board authorized the use of $612,000 worth of reserve funds to offset some of those expenses. So $200,000 was for the special education warrant, and then almost $380,000 was for projects for facilities, the elevator at the high school, the Leeds roof, and also some work on the well. And then $33,000 for the district share of the E-rate project for TES wiring. So that is offsetting that amount. Predominantly overspent, the reasons that special education was overspent was really contracted services and main care expenses. So that really put us over. That has hopefully been corrected in this year's budget. We shouldn't have that problem again.
At least that much over. Let's see.
And then in other instruction, we had to sub out transportation for sports trips a lot, and that's what caused that warrant to go over. July looks good so far, it's early, but I expect everything to go nice and smoothly this year. Every year gets a little bit better.
Thank you. The next item is job description. This is long overdue. Policy committee a year ago wanted to make sure that was added to my job description, that I was the official spokesperson, so that's really the only change you see there. You also have a copy of the updated student handbook, and as requested in the spring, we added a section on supports we provide to students, which includes access to the documents around gender identity, and also the cell phone policies that we're using this year. The emergency plans are being approved tonight. I offered the opportunity for anybody who wanted to come in and see them, but they're not provided because we want to keep them confidential. And we have 2 teachers to hire, grade 6 here at Green, Sam Spinrad, who is coming to us after having spent a year at Kate Furbish Elementary School in Brunswick in a 1-year position. And then prior to that, he served as the education director at Congregation Beth Thomas School. He's got a bachelor's degree and a bachelor of science and arts in English from Norwich, and is currently certified. So we're very excited to have him join us. He'll be able to start on Monday, assuming he's approved. And then an elementary music teacher. This is what we are missing for Leeds and Green. And Lars Jacobson, he is a Berkeley-trained, like legit musician who likes working with kids. He is changing careers. He has not been a classroom teacher, but he does have experience working at camps and at a private school in New York offering lessons. We have a very strong elementary music teacher at TPS and TES, so we're feeling good that that partnership will be helpful to Lars as he makes this transition. So we're super excited about him as well. And I'm happy to report, as of about 3 o'clock, 8 of you have done the self-assessment. Good job. If you know you're the one person who hasn't done it yet, I can't check. Don't ask me, because it's anonymous, but somebody still needs to do it, but very well done. And that is for our meeting next Thursday at Tripp Middle School in the library, which is a workshop, not a regular school board meeting. Let me say that out loud.
Question?
Yeah.
You mentioned the cell phone policy. I've seen in the news some interesting feedback about other schools and their cell phone policies, like increased library usage and conversations. I don't know if we have any
I
kind
will
of
defer,
feedback.
I'll let Evan talk
Or
about
maybe
that,
need to
because
be
I think
now,
it's probably more significant at the high
But
school.
I'm interested.
I can answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
I can't confirm increased library use. I can confirm increased chatter among students, both in the hallway and at lunch. I was telling Judith on the way in, students don't have their phones at lunch and they don't look at the clock, and it's too loud to hear the bell in there, so we have to tell them to leave, which has never been a problem. So that's substantial. And I've had more than one student, and I've had 2 staff members come and talk to me about how much improved the atmosphere is in classrooms, just over the last few days.
It's great to hear.
Now, that's not to say there have been a couple of hiccups. We were able to navigate it just fine.
Well, and I have to say, I'm a little amazed we haven't had any real.
I've received 2 emails, but one of them was one that went to Evan and I, and it was more of like a clarification, not sort of ranty, angry. I got a second one was a little less pleased, but it wasn't even about the phone, it was about headphones, so I'll work on answering that, so.
No, just, I expected, and I've heard of other districts that have had that, but I'm very, very pleased. But have you, because ours also covers, has there been any sort of issue with the watches or that kind of stuff too, or
That has not, it's been,
very smooth?
Yep.
Good. I did have a question, we have a significant student jump this year. You know, as you said, is it fairly spread out? Or do we have a particular building or class that's getting hit?
I think the high school and the middle school, that bump, the bubble coming up from the Turner schools is hitting those 2. The middle school, I think, is 150, 160, like they're big. The middle school's at 335, I think is what I looked at this morning. And so the high school, you guys have a very small senior class, like 125 kids. That will be replaced with 160 kids. So the high school's looking at a good solid couple of years of like pretty full class numbers, because those small classes are exiting. Yeah. So Green's at 335, like they're 43 per grade out here. Turner Elementary is coming down a little bit, sort of aiming to have about 70 per grade as opposed to 90, and we're pretty close to that, which feels a little bit more under control for Turner.
We know if this is actually more residents moving in, or is it people having larger families? I don't know if it's.
Well, that's a great question.
Great question, Kelly.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, like, if you see more building going on and more.
There's always constant building going on.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if people are having bigger families.
I was curious if it.
The move
saw
is
that.
usually the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Jenny?
I have a question for you about, and I'm not sure if I should wait till we do the consent agenda or if I can ask now.
No, you can ask now.
Okay, about the out-of-state games.
Yes.
Just a little bit more.
Oh, thank you.
clarification on
Yeah,
that. Did miss-
we missed that one.
Okay.
But it's,
I meant to talk about that.
No, that's okay.
Yep. So on the out-of-state games, on the out-of-state games, so the only one we have right now in the fall is a middle school football game. They are going to a school in New Hampshire. We don't have the final hockey schedule, but typically it involves 1 or 2 games to New Hampshire. I don't know yet about spring, but I don't think in spring there tends to be travel out of state.
It's hockey.
Hockey is always it with this, but I found out this past week when this agenda item came out that we do have a middle school thing. So the issue is that, so our bus drivers are licensed to drive buses within the state of Maine. They would need to get a federal physical sign-off thing to be able to drive outside of the state of Maine. So we can't drive our own buses out. So if hockey is likely gonna be a co-op, so maybe another school has drivers who can do that and we're using their buses, or it's contracted. I know that I heard from Ryan Mishu, who's at the middle school, and they're aware that they can't have our drivers take them, so they're working on alternate transportation with parents.
Oh.
But our policy, our field trip policy requires the board to approve out-of-state trips. So even if they're transporting, it's still a school-sponsored event outside the state. So, and now that I know there's a football game outside the state in the schedule, we'll work on that for
That's a lot of
Others.
kids.
other schedules.
Isn't the football team a lot of, it's, the Trip Middle School team is quite large, isn't it?
There, a lot of kids play football.
Is it just 7th or 8th, or
That's a great
just-
question. I don't have that information.
Okay.
We get a thumbs up from the crowd, that it's both?
Both.
I have a
Um,
follow-up on this.
Yeah, please go, Bert.
So is this something that is considered like a optional fun kind of tournament?
I don't
Or is
think
it,
so.
like, it seems really odd for 7th and 8th graders to have to play a game that would be considered part of their like regular season schedule? So is it like a tournament or some sort of like?
I assume it's just a game, but I don't, I mean, that's what I have for information. So I can get more information and send that
I'm
to you.
going to use my ability as chair to actually, did you, no, the gentleman behind you is also.
I just want to clarify something.
Okay, please.
The high school trip for hockey, or sometimes, usually it's just one, we are playing a main school that is on the border of New Hampshire, but their home arena is in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So it's not,
Is that the same, do you know for Trip?
Well, I'm gonna, but I
I
think
can't
we're gonna find out
Oh.
shortly for Trip right behind you
You
there.
want me-
Yeah, if you can elaborate.
Let's see, it's next weekend. So not this, what's today, the 4th? So it's on the 13th, we go to Rochester, New Hampshire. Trip is part of the Southern Maine Football League, and there's a New Hampshire school in it. The reason they're part of the Southern Maine Football League is because it's the only league in the state that offers both 7th and 8th grade teams. And like you said, there's 70 kids playing football right now, or maybe it's less than that, maybe it's 60. But there's still quite a few kids that play football. New to us, didn't know that there was parent coordination, but I can tell you right now that they'll coordinate it, it'll be fun.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
Joe?
Oh,
I thought you were-
I have thoughts.
Oh, okay, I thought you were saying.
Rochester's not on the board.
No.
Was it- How far is this? How far is this trip? Just out of curiosity, we know?
So lots of information. So this all, when the agenda, so this has always been about the high school hockey
And then I
team.
emailed her.
And then, yes, and then Jim also responded when the agenda item came out, and he says, we can't drive out of state. And then Ryan Mishu was like, middle school's going, so I think all of that happened very quickly, and there was a learning curve. So I've emailed all of everybody and said like, okay, people, we gotta like get organized. We have to have, any out-of-state trip has to be approved. So I suspect that that's new learning that we will have to get organized around. Because it also impacts transportation, like, because my preference is always to not have parents transport school-sponsored events. So things are being organized quickly in response to this new
Free
information.
question before me, but.
Did Joe have any other stuff?
No, I didn't even have anything in the first
Oh, I thought he said something. I thought he was saying something. Great.
Well, it just also brings a concern as far as, do they need overnight stay?
No,
Like,
there's, that would be a whole separate
Later
conversation.
on.
No,
Right,
no,
okay.
absolutely not. We would not be having this conversation if they were
Because
spending the
sometimes
night.
hockey games are, football games could be played at night, so just wanna make sure.
Well, they won't be spending the night. They will not be middle schoolers in a hotel in New Hampshire.
Just for the record,
With their parents.
because it's online, so everything online is true, correct? But Google says it's 2 hours away where they're playing, so that's within,
Yeah, I mean, we drive to Wells, I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about Madomic, like, we live in Maine, we drive far, so I'm not sure the distance, because I looked it up too, I'm not sure the distance is the issue. It was new information that we now need to have.
And the parent coordination, I think.
Yep, 100%.
but hopefully parents are more informed than the board was.
One more quick question. When hockey travels out of state, Evan, do the parents do it, or do we normally have,
We send a bus.
we send a bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we would need to contract if we're not coordinating with another school who
Right,
has
right.
drivers who can do
So we
that.
have 70 to 80 kids that are traveling with parents.
That was the latest piece of information that I had,
Okay.
but again, that's all pretty recent information that we're still in the process of
Okay.
sorting
Don't
out.
we have fairly strict rules on parents hauling other people's kids and so
Yes,
forth and so
there are
on?
lots of rules around that, yes. Yep, yep.
So, which
So the conversation is ongoing.
I might add that if, this seems like odd enough that potentially athletic directors, maybe some more conversation there too.
100%.
Surprisingly, the outdoor trip, out-of-state trips caught us a little bit, but other than that, any other questions for superintendent on her report? Reports, actually. All right, seeing none. That takes us to the consent agenda, which most of us heard about at this point. We've heard, I'm going to read down through them, but does anybody wish to take any out for a further discussion or to vote on separately at this time? I see Anthony. Anthony?
8.2.
Okay. Anthony requests to have 8.2 removed. 8.2, just for review, is review and adoption of superintendent recommendation of job, adoption of superintendent recommendation of job descriptions, superintendent of schools. So we will move that down to, do you want to go all the way to the end? Or do you want, does it really matter? I can choose? Oh, okay. We'll do- Let's go to 10.5. So the last thing. So 8.2 is now going down to 10.5. Anybody else have any of those that they have, like to deal with separately? Alright, that being said, we're now going to, I'm gonna read down through them. 8.1, consideration and approval of the Finance Committee recommended approval of May, June, and July 2025 operating and expenditure reports. 8.3, consideration and approval of out-of-state games for all sports at Livermore High School and Tripp Middle School. 8.4, consideration and approval of district handbook. 8.5, consideration and approval of comprehensive emergency plans. 8.6, instructional nominations to be acted upon collectively after nominations have been read by the superintendent. 8.6.1, Green Central School elementary teacher assigned to grade 6 for a 1-year position only. 8.6.2, Green Central School lead Central School music teacher. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda? Thank you. I get a move from
Who
Joe, and I get a second from Kyle.
Joe?
Joe and Kyle. All those in favor of the consent agenda is, I believe, unanimous. All those opposed, when unanimous, would be questioning it? No, so we'll move on. That takes us to old business, which we do not have, and so that takes us to new business. All right, 10.1, this is the consideration and election of a board representative and alternate for the Maine School Board Association Delegate Assembly. Now, we've had some people represent us a couple times over the years, but it's sometimes good to get some new blood in there if anybody is interested to do it. Do we know what date it is?
You want me to give you some information?
Yes, if we
I-
do
I
get some
studied up.
information.
I
All right,
studied
good.
up. So this meeting is virtual on October 18th to Saturday, begins at 9:30. Delegates must be technology savvy and will need to be in attendance no later than 9:15. They're encouraging people to go to the pre-delegate assembly regional meeting, but our regional meeting is scheduled for next Thursday at 6 o'clock, so none of you are available. So that won't get you out of doing this if that's what you're looking for. So it is a Saturday morning, 9:30. I feel like, Anthony, you've been in the past, and I think Jamie has been in the past, and I feel like it's like 2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
is what I remember.
Joe has a,
I remember the last few years, we've had like the alternate step up to be the delegate, and then brought in a new alternate, kind of like an election
the
program, so I'm
alternate?
trying to
Ashley?
remember
Was it
who's, that's,
Ashley?
I think it was, and
I think
she's not
Ashley.
here.
but that's kind of,
But that's what we've been doing, I think it makes sense to have the alternate, because they have some experience in the situation, but I don't know what her schedule looks like either.
Yeah, because she's about to have it.
I'm pretty sure of that. So, but that being said, it is definitely not gonna force it on Ashley right now. So, it is good to change things up a little bit, but anybody have any interest? We have Anthony with some interest. Anybody else have any interest? All right. So, seeing no interest anywhere other than Anthony, sounds like it's gonna be a hard decision.
Need an alternate.
I know that, so we have Anthony's, be our representative. Well,
Can I make a motion for Ashley to be representative and Anthony be the alternate? In the event that Ashley can't do it, then Anthony would do it as the alternate?
I guess so. We got a motion, we got Anthony as one, and then we got Ashley as one, but
When is the date on this?
October
October
18th, it's a
Yeah.
Saturday.
so it's a Saturday from here. This is
Yeah,
something that I don't
that's
really
hard.
want
Yeah,
to, so, and also,
it's hard.
so no, approval, so we actually have to, so we have a motion, Anthony's motioned himself. Is there a second for Anthony being, we get a second for Anthony being our representative?
Who seconded?
Alex. Now, I was doing one at a time, I wasn't planning to do alternate and. So we have any other motions for our representative? Bree,
I have a question.
I have an answer.
You might. So, does this decision have to be made tonight? And if not, we still meet again on September 18th as a regular meeting, where we could have an opportunity to reach out to Ashley, seeing as she's not here, to see what she would want. She may say no, she may say, yes, I want to be alternate, or yes, I'd like to go as the representative. Do we have time to table this until September 18th?
I don't know about that, let's see, but I don't know that we need to. I guess you'd have to request, we're kind of in the middle of a different motion. I currently have a motion on the floor for a representative.
That's fine, so I wanted to just ask this
Yeah,
question before
Don't,
making my
it'd
vote.
be cutting it tight for that.
When does like MSBA need to have our name?
So we have to have that person registered by October 10th, but like we have to think about what meetings are. I think there's 2 meetings between now and then to be able to meet that deadline. And then the next meeting was the meeting that typically we put the resolutions on for you guys to weigh in to provide guidance to the delegate. So you probably should have a delegate before you provide that person guidance. So, just a thought.
So, any other motions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Anthony as our representative? It is everybody. All those opposed? Abstained? Okay. Alternate, in case Anthony cannot make it, do we have a motion for an alternate?
Can I ask a clarifying question, please?
Of course.
So Joe nominated Ashley, but was there no second to that?
Well, we
No one
talked about
seconded
it.
the motion. Yeah, no one
Okay.
seconded.
Just
Yeah.
trying to keep things straight here, okay, thank you.
Is there a motion for an alternate?
I make a motion for Ashley, and I'd like to be able to give her time to weigh in on that. I don't feel that we need to be rushing this decision. I think we can give it 2 weeks to get that.
Do we have to, yeah, they both registered with them?
As long as it's by the 10th, October 10th.
And there still is another meeting after that to give the
But we
recommendations of
have
what we
our,
want to bring to
we
the
have a
meeting.
primary, so.
Mhm.
All
Is there
right,
a
do we have a
second?
second for Ashley as the alternate?
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Who'd you give it to?
Um, All those in favor of Ashley, I hate giving something to when they're not here to defend
Wait,
themselves.
what was Bree's motion now?
Bree's motion is to do it in hopes, but Ashley can refuse, of
Yeah,
course, she
she
can
wants to
refuse.
back out, yeah. I think that's your intention, is to
Yes.
sort of give her, yeah.
So, all those in favor of Ashley as our alternate? I believe it is unanimous. All right, so we'll move on past that. Now, this is consideration and selection of the Patients Norman for Teacher Excellence Committee. Now, this is basically just volunteers, there's no, you don't vote on this or anything, right?
It's a subcommittee of the board,
Okay.
so, and there's one meeting. Who did it last? Crystal, were you there?
Yeah.
Crystal was there, Ashley was there,
Anthony?
Jamie was there,
Mhm.
right? No,
Okay.
so it's one meeting, you get an opportunity to look at all the nominees of, that have been submitted by staff and parents and sometimes kids. To award the Patients Norman, we award this typically in December before vacation, and you get to read awesome things about awesome teachers, so it's not a heavy, it's probably 1-2 hour meeting some night at 5 o'clock or something, we would agree. So it's not a bad gig.
Who would like to, Kyle would, who else?
Kyle,
We have
fun,
two, and we have Jenny, and we have Anthony.
sweet. Yeah,
Those
Anthony,
are
you've done it before, you just didn't do it when we had the meeting,
Same.
right? You were just,
Yeah.
you guys just looked at it online and then we had a meeting, yeah, so the meeting is new, we didn't do the meeting until last year.
Okay. So we got Kyle, Anthony, and Jenny. Thank you all three for
Thank
standing
you.
up. All right. No, I don't think, well, it's a subcommittee, technically I would
So you
appoint
could
them. I'm
appoint
appointing
them,
yes.
right, yes,
And they
they've been
volunteer.
appointed.
So I've
Thank
officially
you.
appointed Kyle,
Thank
There we
Anthony,
go.
and Jenny.
Chair appointed,
Reword that.
beautiful.
All right. Director Dave.
All right, behind us, we
May
have,
we have an update on the facilities?
Ooh, you have a presentation,
we have a slide
Dave?
deck.
Thanks, Gabby.
It looks dirty.
So we start with our long-awaited wastewater treatment plant project. So we have some construction underway. That is a picture of the control building. One wall is up, which we're excited about.
Martha calls that the green monster, because
Yeah.
the wall is green.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So we have, a great day was when the crane came to set the BioClear tanks. That was quite a sight anyway, but it was well done, well orchestrated. So we have pictures of it being constructed. The BioClear tanks in the ground, side by each there, next to each other. Each way, the effluent pump station. It's pretty much 35 to 40% completed at this point. Construction goes on daily. Things are going very well there, construction-wise. The sidewalks are back to as they should be with students entering, and the road's back in good condition. So I have to put this picture of the existing wastewater treatment plant, which we've done some training with Chuck Appleby and water quality compliance. So we have two maintenance guys and myself going through a training at this point to kind of say goodbye to this wastewater treatment plant, which has been eventful and informational. It's kind of it's challenging with no students and staff in the buildings, and really challenging when the flow increases when it all comes back. So the chemistry behind it is a learning process. So Chuck is training us as far as like putting this thing to bed and starting out with a new process coming up, which has been very informational. And that's what it looks like at this point, and that eventually will disappear. So we're looking forward to the new wastewater treatment plant, getting online and educated with how that's going to be as far as process. But it's been fun. On our punch list this summer, we had asphalt patching. You'll notice right around that catch basin, we had Spencer come down and pave that area before. It was all cracked and kind of a dangerous thing.
So we're excited that a lot of these projects got done this year. And we also had some seal coating done nationwide, pretty much at Levitt Area High School, as well as the striping. So we've done some crack sealing there to try to preserve some of the paving that we can preserve. It's just great maintenance when you can get and prevent water from going underneath that asphalt to raise up. So it's been really good. We have new gym wall pads. You'll notice in the back, the green wall pads. They used to be pretty much underneath the hoops. They extended out probably 5 feet past. So now we have wall pads that go from end line to end line for student safety. And we actually found a couple of outlets we're pretty excited about. That were well-needed outlets when it came to like craft fair and other events.
That's awesome.
You'll notice that you can see the lights in the shine of the floor. We had the gym floor guy come back and do our floors this year. He's been doing floors for 50 years. They did the auxiliary gym as well. We're pretty excited about it. That shine is awesome, so we're excited about that. New paints. So not only at Levitt, but Levitt, right around the athletics and the weight room, we were able to paint, you know, our green that we like, which is our original Kelly green that we'd like to get back to, along with some gray. And the floors were done, wax, looked great, but we as a district got a lot of painting done this summer. The elevator modernization, you'll see that has been upgraded. We're waiting for one button on the outside that goes up and down to complete that.
That sounds a little bit.
We're almost there. So, but we have a new floor and modernization, the cables, all the pumps, motors, pulleys, have all been replaced and working for day one. TES bottle filling station, that's the last one at TES, I believe in the B wing, I think, Kristen, yeah, B wing. That's all set to go.
And just a reminder, that's what we're doing to deal with lead.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, that filters out and it has a great test when it comes back for clean drinking water. People will be happy about the LVT flooring in the music room we took care of.
Not excited.
Of course I'm excited.
That's it.
Get ready to start. Yeah.
Good.
I was waiting for a hooray.
I know,
I
seriously,
know.
very disappointed,
They're
very
very
disappointed.
Peter.
You did what was supposed to be done.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
I love it. Follow instructions, get that.
All right.
TES calf painting, so thanks to Dave Roberts. He was part of this project as well. We had the cafeteria painted at TES this summer. It is a nice gray now, I would say a seagull gray, which has really dressed up that cafeteria. Hasn't been done in a long, long time. So
Are those new tables?
those are not.
Oh, okay.
Those were last year's tables. Electrical upgrades, so we spent the summer, I know our district electrician, Tommy, came in and like provided more outlets to each classroom. We've always had issues at TES with like, there hasn't been enough outlets, like in 1970 when the building was built, usually had 1 or 2 because that's all you were plugging in. So we've added it so that we can have direct plug-ins to the TV, and then it's basically spacing around the area where there's more outlets. Every classroom we're trying to do a model where we have basically the whiteboard on the TV that is pretty much in one location, so the setup makes it a little easier to provide outlets anyway, but we got that done this summer. TMS, the floors, I always like to show Linda's floors, just because she does a great job there. Tremendous as far as like to shine, so.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Asbestos removal at TMS, we took care of some asbestos, had that done this summer, and then we put LVT tile in place of it. The great thing about LVT, and I'm gonna try to sell that as much as I can, so we do not have to like pull all the furniture out. We do anyway, but all we have to do is scrub it, so we don't use any, there's no wax to it. So it's easy maintenance, so you don't have to go through the process of waxing it. You put the scrubber in there with a solvent that we use, and it's really easy to clean.
Dave, how many rooms did you have to remove the asbestos from?
So we did one this year, we've pretty much done one a year at TMS. Yeah, there's a few more to do there. New doors at TPS on the backside. The doors themselves were rotten and barely opening. So we got some 2 new doors, and access and control is going to be going in for those 2 in a couple of weeks.
Those look great.
Yeah, thanks. TPS, the new well project is underway. That is our new well located, if you're heading towards those doors we just saw on the left-hand side. It is right next to the old tank. So the new well project is 15 gallons per minute, which is more than we expected. Our current well is roughly between 3 and 5 gallons a minute that it is serving. So part of the project is the well project going in, and tank replacement, looking into that. So we got the main drinking water program. So we had to do a pump test for 48 hours, ran the pump test. The water quality came back really good, which we're excited about, because everything in that type of neighborhood usually has iron in it, and it has to be treated. But the water test came back really good, and we're excited about that. It should make the process easier. This is our current 1,000 gallon tank inside the boiler room at TPS. So that directly feeds from our well now to that holding tank for our drinking water, pretty much. So coming up, we'll talk about a project about having holding tanks and the new well and how we're going to pipe that in, and the timing of how we're going to do that project. Do you want me to go into that?
Might as well. I mean, unless you've got it, is it later?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I would talk
that's
about
it right there. So we talked about a PTB committee. The new well has 15 gallons a minute, which basically would be able to recover our system for water quicker. So with this holding tank in place now, we've eliminated the coliform issues. We've tested back as far as water quality, really good as of late. That will continue, especially our next step would be to hook in the new well actually to the building, so that would feed the existing tank as well as this holding tank. And instead of like trying to wait for a main water drinking program, their approval is roughly going to take a month from now. So a month from now for a tank design to get back to us would put us in the middle of October. The only time we were hoping to do the project would be over Indigenous People Day. And that would be really cutting it close for having 2 or 3 days to do that total project. So we were hoping to have the tank design done and then put it out to bid so that we could possibly do it in the springtime. Because with the new well and the water quality, we are not, daily use is 2,500 gallons. So we don't really exceed that with this holding tank that we have in place. And we're in compliance with main drinking water program at this time. So I think we would save a lot of money by waiting and putting it out to bid for the tank itself, and then keeping this tank in place over the winter. And then in the springtime, we have a contractor scheduled to do the work as well. LCS roof project completed. That is roof number 1, looking out towards 106. It has the tapered system, and if you see right behind that unit, there's a small, looks like a roof drain. You'll see how it's kind of pie-shaped, and everything is kind of centered so that the pitch goes towards those drains on that roof location. The insulation was put in, it was a minimum 30 insulation, which helps with the cooling of the building. The roof really came out really good, and love the pitch, so that water, if you go up there after a rainy day, if we ever have one, we had one, I was able to see it. So it all goes to that drain, and it drains very well as far as pitch-wise, so it's been very good. This is my favorite, the LCS VRF thermostat. So this summer when it was 90 or 100 or whatever it was pretty warm.
if you went into one of those rooms on a thermostat, it would basically say 68. So that's how well the VRFs did on that roadside. In each room at Leeds is terrific.
Is that just the dehumidification? Yeah, that's what, I want to say
Yeah,
that's just dehumidification.
yeah. Wall pads at Leeds, for the longest time, they've had some like very wide, thick pads held up by bungee cords underneath that hoop. Kind of dangerous. So it's exciting to see new wall pads out there. And new outlets as well, because once you find them, somehow they like to bury those, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not yellow.
This is the Leeds gym, and if you've ever been to the Leeds Central School gym, usually you'll have to go in there with some sunglasses, it's kind of bright. So our new color is a Genesis white, I believe, which is almost a gray. So that's a very different look for Leeds. It's exciting. Up top, that gray piece is a gray sock, so that's their ventilation for the dehumidification. When the dehumidification is off, that is kind of like, it's almost like a foot without a sock, pretty much. But if you put your foot in the sock, you know what happened, and you can hear it kick on. But it's
So
definitely
that's fully inflated?
yeah. And Leeds, there's 2 parking lots, is the pretty much the bus loop with the kids dropped off. That was coated and striped as well for seal.
Somebody's finger.
And then
That was Dave's finger right there.
no, that was Joe's.
Oh.
I didn't take that one. LCS Phase 3 power upgrade. So that's our Phase 3 so that we can run the VRFs and dehumidification units. GCS condensing unit, that pretty much powers the cafeteria. On that side, there's 2 of those units on the outside. Go ahead, sorry. No, you're good. And then also the electrical upgrade for the ventilation. There were a lot of those conduits basically run through the building to do the dehumidification work. Most of it was done over April break. Everything was tied into summer, controls wise. But I will say like that, it was unbelievable the difference out there this summer, especially with summer school and Margaret Murphy there. We had ACs on backup just because we didn't believe that it was possible, but it was a whole different game like out there. It was terrific. So we had dehumidification units 1, 2, 3, and 4 GCS, and they also added a catwalk to that one straight ahead on the highest roof. We've never had a catwalk out there to change the filters. It was kind of a miracle they were changed before because they were it was very unsafe. So then now there's a catwalk for that particular unit. So those dehumidification units, again, just like, I'm sure if you ask Doug, it's just like night and day. Like
And consistent.
yeah, very consistent, so. Number 4, just want to get another picture of that one. And just 24 hours a day, I just want to shout out to my maintenance guys, and I just call them facility guys, custodial maintenance, like those guys, 24 hours a day, buildings are breathing, systems are running. I think when a lot of us go home at night, we forget the lights are on and water's still in pipes and alarms could go off, and sometimes it snows and you have to take care of that stuff. And our crew of 23 guys, men, women, like, are there all the time to take care of the facilities. So this summer when it was 90 degrees, they were pulling all the classroom furniture out. They were putting wax down, they were putting stripper down, removing 10 feet at a time. And they worked very hard this summer to be able to do that before August 15th and also be able to paint a lot of rooms. And we had a paint crew with two very good people this summer. But our custodians, for the longest time, have just barely got like floors done. So they've got painting done as well, stuff washed down. I attribute a lot to that to the head custodians. The head custodians are really good at kind of coordinating that piece, and they've been a huge, having a building manager in the house has been just a huge game changer for us. And then I put stats down on the bottom, like, I think, 60 acres at Levitt to manage between athletic fields, trees, leaf cleanup. There's stuff that we weed whack around. There's parking lot curb that we take care of. There's just a lot of variables that our guys are out there doing every day that, when you enter a school facility, as soon as you get off the main road, even before, because you have the school flashing zones, we're responsible for a lot of that stuff, and our guys do a fantastic job of that, so I just want to give a shout. Those guys they've done awesome. So yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Good work.
Thanks.
Very good. How is our wells and irrigation holding up
Not good.
with sports fields right now?
Not good. Well, not good for the summer. Like, this summer hasn't been a healthy one. We had some issues with the irrigation earlier this year. We had a pump that went down. The pump that we had on there wasn't actually the right pump, or I say it wasn't. I don't think that it was giving us enough recovery time in our holding tank to be able to run the water for long. So right now, we set up for, like, we'll run it for 20 minutes every other day, but we have to have 20 minutes to recover so that we can continue to run the 22 zones. So we would either need to get to a pond to pump out of, or a river, in order to run it like it properly needs to be, or increase the size of the tank. But there are issues, and this summer was just a very hard example of, like, it was dry.
How big is the tank for the irrigation system?
10,000 gallons, yeah. So, I mean, even when we had there was an issue where we had the sprinkler irrigation company come out. It's old, and it's PVC pipe, it's not poly pipe in the ground. So it's an older system that has served its purpose, but as we move forward with fields, we're gonna have to look at, like, upgrading fields, like, just fields, like even the crown of the football field, the space of what we have for fields. The irrigation system, it's doing all it can right now. Like,
Are they connected to, is it connected? It's connected to the well of the high school too, right? No,
so
two separate wells?
it has its own separate well.
So we're
It has
not,
its
so when
own-
the school started up, it didn't start affecting it?
No, once it went to another well with a holding tank, it still didn't have the proper pump to be able to recover in time, but even 10,000 gallons on, if you run one particular zone, it's 1,600 gallons per zone. So if you run a zone for 20 minutes, it's 1,600 gallons that leaves, and then it takes, at least 2 hours to get it back. So you'll run your pump out of water, and that's what happened to us the last time. So we upsized the pump for the recovery time. It's helped out. But there's a point with grass that it's a little too late,
Yeah.
and I think it's a little too late for, we hope September it gets cooler.
Yeah.
And usually cooler nights and warmer days grows grass. We fertilize, we top dress, we overseed, but without that water, it's a hard sell.
Sure.
But we're doing the best we can with that.
I know we had tried to get EEI's report to extend out of the building and to our grounds. I don't know if that was ever successful.
No,
So
I
we-
think we learned that we were probably asking them beyond their scope, and so, no, we did not. So I think if the board decides to make some kind of plan, we'll probably seek, like, expertise in that particular area. Yeah, it
I
didn't,
would say probably, yeah. There's other companies out there, so.
yeah, I think we asked beyond their scope of expertise.
I don't know, feel like some sort of additional planning exercise or observation or assessment of the grounds is still warranted, so I mean, like.
Yeah, that'll be part of the PTB conversation,
Yeah.
for sure.
Anybody else have any questions on? Seeing none, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Crew did do an excellent job this year.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
All right. And even more support for you. Consideration and approval of a wood chip supply to keep the buildings warm. What do we got?
So we received 2 bids this year for wood chip supply. Thompson Enterprises is the company that supplied us for fiscal year '25. The product was great, ran nice and hot, no issues, no alarms to speak of. There was just a little snafu with backing into the entry where they unload the product. The other bid is from Cousineau's, who supplied us with wood chips for the 3 years prior. There was some issue with the supply itself. The wood chips were quite large. They seemed wet at times, so we migrated to Thompson. Dave had previous experience with them. You know, we had no issues. Moving forward, Thompson wanted to ensure that he would not have any liability should the opening to deliver the chips was in his responsibility. We feel like if you just take your time and you're mindful of what you're doing, then you can get it delivered without causing an issue. So Dave had a nice conversation with John.
Yeah, John.
John at Cousineau's explained the concern over the product. John assured Dave that we would not have that issue again, so we would like to give them an opportunity for a year, see how it goes, and then go out to bid again after another year.
I'm going to say that I might have missed at the beginning. Is Cousineau's, what is the bid?
Oh, I'm sorry. Cousineau's was $73 per ton for year one. And Thompson is $75 per ton.
So the recommendation is 1-year contract, Cousineau's $73 a ton.
And it is the lower of the two.
It is the lower of the two, but given the
No, I
history,
understand.
yep.
Joe?
Yeah, the conversation at PTB really highlighted how important the quality is though, because of the outages in the middle of the night, inability of the boiler going down. The quality is a big factor, and the cost difference is only, I think, over the tonnage we buy is about $2,000. And so, we definitely feel like the quality is a big deal, so hopefully Cousineau can fix the quality problem, and this all works out great, but that's why 1 year seems to make a lot of sense.
And the bid request that we sent out did specify the size chip that we're requiring, that it needs to have a specific moisture content. So Dave's gonna take a look at the first couple of shipments, see how it's coming in, and if they're not meeting those requirements, we will remind them of what they bid on.
And do we have repercussion, like if, I deal with it daily, if a load that we send out does not meet specs, we either reject the load or don't pay for the load, so do we have any sort of those fallbacks?
We didn't put anything in the contract to specify that. We, I'm sure, can reject it, but then we.
Don't have the chips, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
We run into an
But the
issue.
bid is very specific about the quality of the chips.
So when I accept the
I'm
bid.
sorry, the request.
When I accept the bid on behalf of the board, I can specify that if the quality of the chip is not there, then we will reject it and we will expect them to supply us with the correct quality.
Alex?
I should have thought of this earlier. Has Cousineau said that they're gonna honor the 73 on 1 year? Or did they provide a 3-year bid with price increase?
They provided a 3-year bid with a price increase each year, so 73.
But it didn't require the contract to be 3 years?
Yes. Yes.
So I wanna make sure they're gonna honor the 73 if we
No,
tell
they
them
will,
we're
because
going
the bid that I sent out requested a price for 1, 2,
1 year.
and 3 years.
Okay.
I wanna go back to Alex, does the PTB have a recommendation?
I mean, we like when Dave's happy, and if Dave's comfortable with Cousineau, I think that, you know, like I said, we have strong wording in the proposal that the quality needs to be better. I don't think the quality with Thompson was ever in question, it was just, I think the issue with them was dealing with them more than anything. You know, they were hard to contact, Gabby had to chase them down several times, and I don't think that, it seemed like the liability issue was a sticking point for them, so.
I did reach out to him and ask if that was a breaking point for him, if he would not supply the district with wood chips, if we would not agree to that, and he just did not respond. But that isn't uncommon.
Does anybody have any other questions for Gabby or the PTB regarding this? Seeing none, I have a motion. Alex with the motion, Kyle with the second. So,
And just a reminder, the motion is to accept the bid from
Yeah.
Cousineau for 1 year, $73 a ton.
And technically, we should have had the motion beforehand, but that's all right,
We
we
didn't
got
have the
moving past
info.
it.
We didn't have the
so
info,
we're good.
so.
Any further discussion on now the motion at hand? Seeing none, all those in favor of keeping the high school warm?
And middle school and TES, provides heat for all three. Is that unanimous?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
unanimous. I'm just worried about Evan. All right, that leads us for our last item, which is, am I not mistaken, do we have anything else, just that?
Nope, that's it.
10.5, which is 8.2, which came from the consent agenda. Review and adoption of superintendent recommendation of job descriptions, superintendent of schools, 8.2.1. Anthony, you asked for this come, so you asked, I'm trying to decide, technically, to discuss it, we should have a motion to accept it. Do we have a motion to accept it?
I'll put a motion in a
Okay,
second.
thank you. If we want to follow the guidelines,
I'll
Anthony's
second.
gonna second. All right, Anthony, you
So,
request.
sorry, was the motion to approve the description like
That was
that?
the motion I
Yeah.
made, was to
Okay.
approve the description.
And who was the second, please?
Anthony,
So the main reason that I wanted to pull this off is, under policy B, I think it's BEDD, the superintendent is described as, her responsibilities being the secretary to the board and the parliamentarian. That's not part of this job description, and it seems to me that if it's in another policy and it's therefore expected of the superintendent, it ought to be part of the job description. There's also, under performance responsibilities, there's an early, effort to take, verbs and make them very active, so lead instead of leads and so forth. But then it peters out after the first three items.
I see that.
And the stickler in me would like to see all of those things. There's a lot, because there's 21
Yeah.
separate
Yeah,
ones.
I see that now.
And then last but not least, under essential functions, number 5, you'll all grin when you see that she's
Oh.
expected to.
That's because
at
this
least
draft
10%.
is months old, and we
Yeah.
just didn't go back to it.
So could we change that to, I think the wording that you arrived at last year was.
Yeah, we'll use the same
was
wording.
up to
Yeah.
20?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I need to motion that we make those changes?
probably the safest, so we don't, make sure we include them all. The first thing that comes to my mind is we now have a motion on the board, we have a second, we're kind of open discussion. If I'm not mistaken, I'm playing with the rules here a little bit, but can we just now, in a sense, table it, put it under old business for next week, for next meeting?
What do you guys want to do?
Well, no, but just, that way we can
You
go.
could do that, or depending on how comfortable everybody is, say, with those revisions. So adding parliamentary and secretary,
Okay,
fixing the verbs, and fixing the pounds. Like I have the notes, so if it's sufficient.
so we have an official motion by Anthony then to change it.
That's by Joe.
No.
Joe has the motion to approve it, Anthony has a second to approve it.
So-
Anthony's making changes which are, to me, significant enough that they ought to at least have a vote on them, because we're changing, yeah,
So
we're actually
I will
putting
move to
words.
amend that.
Okay, so Anthony's moved to amend it with the changes here. Kyle has seconded it, which the changes and the ones in particular were the first ones that I feel require us to actually vote on them, which is the addition of these particular items.
Secretary and parliamentarian.
Yeah.
Fixing the verbs. We started with fixing the
Yeah.
verbs, finished fixing the verbs, and fixing the pounds.
Those last two, I think, could have done easily.
Those are edits.
Yeah, those are edits, but the first one I do believe needs a vote, so. So as of right now, primarily, we've added to her job description, as by our policy, I might add, secretary and parliamentarian. We have a motion of a second, any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, which is changing the job description? Seeing unanimous. Now, all those in favor to the current job description with the amendments, which is basically as seen, written, with the few grammatical issues plus the secretary and parliamentarian. All those in favor of that new job description?
Unanimous?
Unanimous.
Okay.
Do I have a final motion of the evening, folks? I have motion to adjourn, and actually, he got the second, because he was doing this.
Who did second?
Anthony got the second.
Kind of a joke.
You gotta vote to adjourn. You gotta actually vote. You have to
All those in
vote.
favor of voting?
No, what is this? Don't mess
It's
with us.
unanimous.
8:01, thank you very much.
All right,